By direction of the President of the United States, stay in your homes. I repeat, stay in your homes.
Today we're talking about what governments around the world may be doing. That's obviously wrong, but they just seem to keep doing it. Yeah, Johnny, I've been thinking about Indigenous people. Indigenous people, thinking about Australia and North and South America in particular. Right, yeah. Well, it seems, Johnny, there's been a few apologies made over the years, especially here in Australia, where we had a big thing about the government was apologising to the Indigenous people about all the wrongs that had been committed against them over the years and how deeply sorry we were for it all.
The time has now come for the nation to turn a new page. A new page in Australia's history by righting the wrongs of the past and so moving forward with confidence to the future. We apologise for the laws and policies of successive parliaments and governments that have inflicted profound grief, suffering and loss on these our fellow Australians.
Right, yeah. Well, if we were so deeply sorry about it, Johnny, why do we keep doing the same fucking things we did that we had to apologise for? Jesus Christ, that's bloody... I mean, we just go about doing everything in this bloody country, and are the Indigenous people ever asked? They asked that, do you want all these migrants coming in again, the same way that we did over the last 200 years? Do you want us to keep doing that? Jesus Christ, Johnny. Well, that's basically what we apologise for, Johnny, coming over here and just taking their land and treating them like shit.
Well, Green Senator Lydia Thorpe joins us. Senator, do you actually remove the Australian flag at your press conferences?
Absolutely, I do. The Australian flag does not represent me or my people. It represents the colonisation of these lands. And it has no permission to be here. There's been no consent. There's been no treaty. So that flag does not represent me, as it has connotations to invasion and dispossession. And it's associated with the mass murders of many Aboriginal women, men and children.
People are saying we already give bloody billions to bloody Indigenous people. How much more do we want to... They're not even asked about anything, are they? Well, I don't think they've ever been asked that, have they? They're not asked about anything, the defence or who's coming into their original country, who's living here, who's building what. They don't get asked at all.
Today, I humbly stand before you to offer a long overdue apology.
And then, after the apology, we just keep doing the same bloody things we apologise for.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. What a pleasure to be here today. Let me begin by recognizing that we are in Inuit Nunangat, the Inuit homeland.
Do you people actually mind if we get a couple of more million people coming in from overseas to live in your traditional lands? Do you mind? Well, it doesn't make it okay. We're still doing the same fucking things we did 400 years ago. But Johnny, you just can't bloody go. Indigenous people of these lands, Johnny, they should be living in big flash houses and driving around in flash cars and in Parliament and everything and being the bloody Prime Minister instead of living in bloody... I mean, Johnny, get in your mind, you've got a block of land out there in the bush. Yeah, block of land, yeah. Little block, and next door there's a guy lives there, and he's got a bulldozer that he uses every day. A bulldozer? Yeah, I'm driving his bulldozer. Instead of going down his road, he just cuts across your paddock every morning, cuts through the fence and just drives across your paddock in his bulldozer. Jesus Christ, Johnny. Yeah, and he's ripping up your grass and everything, and you go along to this bloody bulldozer driver next door and you say, hey George, you just can't drive your bloody bulldozer across my bloody block anymore. It's cutting the paddock up. Right, yeah. And George says, yeah, oh yeah, no worries, I apologise for that. And next morning you go out and fucking George is driven across your bloody block again. What would you think of his bloody apology then? Well, I say his apology was pretty bloody, well, it wasn't. So it's the same with Indigenous people, Johnny. We make these bloody heartfelt apologies, and there's nothing wrong with an apology. It's not the apology I'm bloody apologising for. And we won't even go into the US. I don't think they've ever made an apology to the Indigenous people there, have they? I mean, no apology the bloody US government could make would make amends with the Indigenous people. I wouldn't think so. So you're saying, Johnny, that if we're giving an apology to Indigenous people, a heartfelt apology, we shouldn't keep on doing the same bloody things we were doing that made us apologise in the first place? Is that what you're saying? And I reckon if they asked the Indigenous people what they thought of it all, Johnny, they'd say, well, you're never bloody worried about what we thought about in the past.
That unless something is done and done quickly, man as the dominant species of life on Earth would be extinct within a year.